Interesting times. Today's stories. Fear of disease increases as bodies are found in Indonesia disaster. Tokyo's Tsukiji holds its last tuna auction before moving to a new site. Protests erupt at Gaza-Israel border. 3 Palestinians are killed. West accuses Russia of a global hacking conspiracy. Tornado hits Ottawa and Gatineau. Residents assess the damage. Snow blankets, Calgary. Plus, Toronto Fan Expo attracts thousands. And the Seattle Sounders claim the 2018 Cascadia Cup against the Vancouver Whitecaps. This is Eagle News Canada, bringing you stories from around the globe. I am Lou Aquino. Rescuers picking through the grim aftermath of Indonesia's quake tsunami issued a fresh public health warning as more decaying corpses were unearthed from beneath the ruined city of Palu. Officials said that more than 1,000 people may still be missing in the seaside city of Sulawesi Island after the region was hit by a powerful quake and a wall of water, with the official death toll now at 1,571. Hopes of finding anyone alive a full 8 days since the disaster have all but faded, though Indonesian authorities have not officially called off the search for survivors. There are fears that vast numbers of decomposing bodies could be buried beneath Pitobo and Balaroa, 2 areas virtually wiped off the map, and authorities have warned survivors to steer clear as they brace for more macabre discoveries. Sergeant Sieferuddin from an army unit in Makassar, south of Palu, asks for a body bag to be brought across to a spot near where the remnants of an Islamic school now stands. 2 of his soldiers emerged from the ditch with the body bag sagging in the middle but looking too light to be a corpse. They say they found the heads of 2 adults and 1 child. There are no survivors here. We just find bodies every day, says Sieferuddin, who, like many Indonesians, goes by one name. At the flattened hotel Roa Roa, where early optimism that survivors might be found faded as the days wore on and tropical heat intensified, search teams also prepared body bags. Rescuers reviewed CCTV footage to get a sense of where the doomed guests could be buried beneath the impenetrable mountain of twisted rubble. Survivors have ransacked shops and supply trucks in the hunt for basic necessities, promoting security forces to round up dozens of suspected looters and warn that they will open fire on thieves. Hundreds of people rush a truck carrying gas cylinders for cooking, with long and desperate queues quickly forming. One supermarket that opens its doors refused to allow people inside, instead passing goods through the door as armed troops stood watch. Thousands of survivors continued to stream out of Palu to nearby cities in the aftermath of disaster. Hospitals remain overstretched and too short on staff and supplies. Project Hope and medical NGO said only 2 of its 82 staff in Palu had reported for duty since the quake. The United Nations said it was seeking $50.5 million for immediate relief to help victims of the devastating quake and tsunami in Indonesia. After days of delays, international aid is slowly making its way to the disaster zone, where the UN says almost 200,000 people need humanitarian assistance. Indonesia had been reluctant to accept outside help at first, but as the scale of the disaster became clear, the government agreed to allow in foreign aid. Indonesia sits along the Pacific Ring of Fire, the world's most tectonically active region, and its 260 million people are vulnerable to earthquakes, tsunamis, and volcanic eruptions. Tokyo fishmongers gathered before dawn for one final tuna auction at the world-famous Tsukiji Market before it closes its doors and moves to a new site. It was an emotional moment for veterans of the market, which many acknowledge is now too rundown to support its mammoth operations, but has been the beating heart of Tokyo's culinary scene for decades. In the weak early morning sun, traders filed into a warehouse for the final tuna auction, an indispensable ritual in Tokyo's culinary world and a major tourist draw.
築地市場は今日10月6日をもって83年間の活動を停止し、歴史の中に刻まれることになります。
Hundreds of fresh and frozen tuna tagged with their weight and port of origin were laid out in lines in a refrigerated warehouse, and veteran buyers in rubber boots quietly inspected the wares. They rubbed slices between their fingers and shone torches into the insides of the fish, swapping information with rivals before the showdown began. At 6 o'clock a.m. sharp, handbells rang to signal the auction was underway, and the air filled with the sound of auctioneers yelling prices at buyers, who raised fingers to indicate interests. Tsukiji's tuna auctions have regularly produced eye-watering prices, including a record 155.4 million yen, or $1.8 million, paid for a 222-kilogram bluefin in 2013. The top price for Saturday's auction was to be announced later in the day.
長年にわたり築地市場が担ってきた大きな役割と功績がそのまま豊洲市場にバトンタッチをされ、私たちは未来へ向かって出発をいたします。
After Saturday's final day of operations, Tsukiji's inner market will move to Toyosu, a site in eastern Tokyo where operations will begin on October 11. The move has been in the works for years, prompted by the dilapidated state of Tsukiji. Wholesalers have raised concerns about the antiquated facilities' earthquake resistance, sanitation, and fire safety, as well as the structure's use of asbestos and its crumbling walls. And the crowd of tourists who have mobbed the market, including groups who lined up for hours to win one of the 120 spots for the tuna auction, have irked wholesalers by interfering with the actual business of Tsukiji. The new site will feature state-of-the-art refrigeration and confine throngs of tourists to special galleries behind glass. But the move has proved controversial because of a row over pollution and opposition to the loss of Tsukiji's globally recognized brand. Tokyo Governor Yuriko Koike was forced to delay the move after a series of problems at Toyosu, formerly home to a gas plant, including soil and groundwater contamination. The local government paid hundreds of millions of dollars to clean up new facility, and Koike took the final decision to move the market in late 2017, ending years of delays. The enclave's health ministry said that 3 Palestinians, including a 14-year-old boy, were killed by Israeli fire on the Gaza border as clashes erupted with security forces during protests. Ministry spokesman Ashraf Al-Qudra said 14-year-old Faris Hafiz Al-Sarsawi and 24-year-old Mohammed Akram Mohammed Abu Samane both died after being shot in the chest during demonstrations east of Gaza City. Qudra said 28-year-old Hussein al-Rakab died after being shot in the head near Khan Yunis in the south of the Gaza Strip. According to health ministry figures, a further 376 people were wounded, including 126 who had been shot. 7 were in critical condition, including a medical volunteer. The Israeli military said around 20,000 Palestinians took part in the protests at numerous points along the Gaza border, continuing a series of demonstrations which began in March. The military said grenades, explosives, and stones were launched at Israeli soldiers posted behind the barrier which separates Gaza from Israel. The military said Israeli forces responded with live fire, and an aircraft also carried out 2 strikes in Gaza. The armed forces said it could not immediately comment on the circumstances surrounding the deaths of the Palestinians. Border protests have been ongoing since March 30 in the Gaza Strip, which is run by Islamist movement Hamas and has been under a crippling blockade by Israel for more than a decade. Demonstrators are calling for the right for Palestinians to return to their former homes from which their families were expelled or fled during the 1948 war surrounding the creation of Israel. The rallies frequently turn violent on the closely guarded frontier. Up next, West accuses Russia of a global hacking conspiracy. Tornado hits Ottawa and Gatineau, residents assess the damage. Snow blankets Calgary. Eagle News Canada will return in a moment. Welcome back. You're watching Eagle News Canada. Western powers accused Russia of orchestrating a string of global cyber attacks, including a bungled plot to hack the world's chemical weapons watchdog in the Netherlands. The United States indicted 7 alleged Russian members of the GRU military intelligence agency for targeting the hack-based OPCW, the U.S. Democratic Party, world sports bodies, and U.S. nuclear energy company Westinghouse. The charges came as part of the coordinated pushback by allies Britain, the Netherlands, Canada, and the United States against a series of hacking attempts by what London dubbed Pariah State Russia. Russia scathingly accused the West of spy mania, with the Russian Foreign Office describing the accusations as propaganda directed against our country. In scenes reminiscent of a Cold War spy novel, Dutch security services said they had expelled 4 Russian GRU agents in April after they had attempted a cyber attack on the organizations for the prohibition of chemical weapons from a car parked in a nearby hotel. The OPCW was at the time probing the nerve agent poisoning of Russia ex-spy Sergei Skripal in Britain and an alleged chemical attack on the Syrian town of Douma by the Moscow-backed regime in Damascus. The Dutch and British Prime Ministers Mark Rutte and Theresa May, in a joint statement, accused the GRU of disregard for global values and lashed out at the Russian agency's unacceptable cyber activities. The 4 Russians allegedly involved in the OPCW attack were included in the list of 7 men indicted by the U.S. Justice Department. John Demers, U.S. Assistant Attorney General for National Security, confirmed that known attack targets included the OPCW, football body FIFA, the World Anti-Doping Agency, and Westinghouse.
The United States, like the United Kingdom, Denmark, the Netherlands, Estonia, will provide national cyber contributions to help NATO fight in this important domain.
Demers said the operations dating back to 2014 involved sophisticated, persistent, and unauthorized access into the victims' computer networks. The case also overlaps with U.S. Special Counsel Robert Mueller's probe into Russian election, meddling with 2 of the men targeted on Thursday, having featured in an earlier indictment on interference in the U.S. polls. U.S. intelligence says the GRU conducted the 2016 Democratic Party hack in an effort to help Donald Trump win the presidency. Canada confirmed it believes itself to have been targeted by Russian cyber attacks, citing breaches at its Center for Ethics in Sports and at the Montreal-based WADA. Britain and Australia had just hours earlier pointed the blame directly at alleged GRU front operations such as Fancy Bear and APT-28 for the same string of worldwide attacks. The West's coordinated response also saw NATO Chief Jens Stoltenberg warning Russia to halt its reckless behavior and the European Union condemning aggressive Russian spying. British Defense Secretary Gavin Williamson said that these were not the actions of a great power. This is the actions of a pariah state.
I think they can get away with flouting international law, trying to destabilize the way democracies go about their business, sending agents in to use chemical weapons on British soil for the first time in our history. If they think that we're just going to lie down and accept that they're wrong.
Eagle News correspondent Sabir Mufti shows us how Canadians are coping with the aftermath of the tornado that recently hit Ottawa and Gatineau. Take a look.
This is the aftermath of the devastating tornado that hit Ottawa and Gatineau area last Friday, September 21st, 2018, around 5 p.m. We're standing here in Dunrobin, where you can see behind me a house that has been completely demolished. There's not much left of this house. As the tornado ripped through this area. The tornado was about an EF3 class, and it was estimated to be about 245 kilometers per hour at the speed that it was traveling. Now the residents here have been devastated, and they will be picking themselves up for a while now. Crews have been at working 24/7 to try and get things sorted out. The places that were hit were Kinburn, Dunrobin, Gatineau, parts of Nepean, Greenbank Road, Craig Henry, and Arlington Woods that were hit in particular in those areas. Power outages were happening throughout the weekend, and it's been a tough time for a lot of residents trying to get through this devastating and terrible, tragic event.
None of us around here has ever seen anything like this before. The devastation is incredible. The town behind me has been completely decimated and leveled to the ground. And I just got home from work. I was upstairs at the cafe. That's currently where I live. It sounded like a train was coming. I saw a little bit of hail. I ran down the stairs to see what was going on, and I saw a tree float by my property. But all the volunteer work and everything that's been going on, and everybody that stepped up to clear the roads and get the emergency crews in, and even the emergency crews themselves have been phenomenal. So I'm just hoping everything gets back together soon.
J'habite juste à côté ici.
En bas, au sous-sol?
Dans le sous-sol, oui.
OK.
Là, j'étais dans ma fenêtre, puis j'essaie de fermer mes fenêtres. Puis c'était assez fort, j'ai de la misère. Puis là, j'ai vu les condominiums en haut de la côte. J'ai tout vu soulever, puis j'ai vu le tourbillon. Ça s'est emmené en tourbillon sur nous autres, là, tous les débris. J'ai juste eu le temps de me jeter sur le plancher avec mon petit chien. Puis, puis là, j'entendais ça comme poutou, des madriers qui
volaient partout.
Moi, j'ai épargné mes fenêtres toutes, mais juste l'appartement à côté de moi, toutes les fenêtres sont défoncées avec des. Puis les plafonds les plafonds des deux autres buildings sont partis.
OK.
Puis, les dommages sont un petit peu éparpillés partout.
Éparpillés partout, ouais.
On voit que c'était large, puis c'était puissant, parce que ça a pris. J'ai regardé ça, j'ai vu ça lever, puis une seconde et demie, là.
C'est passé.
Puis on se faisait bombarder comme la guerre.
Hein? Ah, OK.
Je vous ai dit sans doute, même si je suis jamais allé à la guerre, faut pas savoir c'est quoi.
Reporting here in Dunrobin, behind me is an establishment where the businesses here in Dunrobin used to thrive and now have been devastated by the tornado. As you can see, the building behind me, the roof has all come apart and the businesses are no longer able to operate. This is Sabir Mufti reporting from Eagle Broadcasting Corporation, 1 with 25.
Thank you, Sabir. Time to take out your winter jackets as it is officially winter in Calgary. Eagle News correspondent Kara Kabusau shares how Calgarians woke up to heavy snow. Here's the report.
It's only October and Calgarians woke up to a heavy snow. According to Environment Canada, general snowfall amounts of 10 to 25 centimeters are expected with a temperature of -3 degrees Celsius. However, amounts of up to 45 centimeters are possible in the mountains and under the more intense snow bands. Early in the morning, many buses were stuck on the road, leaving commuters stranded, and some bus routes have been detoured. Heavy road conditions are seen in McLeod and Deerfoot Trail, going to downtown from south of Calgary. C trains are also delayed because of large pile of snow in the train tracks. Snow amounts will vary significantly given the strength of the bands of snow and temperatures of the surface that the snow is accumulating on. From Calgary, Alberta, Canada, I am Kara Kabusau. I am 1 with 25.
Thank you, Kara. Coming up, Eagle News will take us to the Toronto Fan Expo, and for Eagle News Sports, the Seattle Sounders claim the 2018 Cascadia Cup against the Vancouver Whitecaps. Eagle News Canada will return shortly. This is Eagle News Canada. I'm Lou Aquino. Eagle News correspondent Sheena Fortuna brings us to the Fan Expo in Toronto. Sheena?
Celebrating its 24th year, Fan Expo brings Toronto the largest comics, sci-fi, horror, and gaming event. Many agree that this 40th event is the best way to spend a long weekend.
Fan Expo is expected to attract about 129,000 people from around the world, with numerous attractions such as the Harry Potter and Doctor Who escape rooms, an artist alley, kids costume contests, and more. Attendees dress up as their favorite characters and arrange theme meetups. Some come as a Jedi, an anime character, a Marvel character, and more. Many unique vendors have gathered here, from wigs to precious stones and to puppets. One of the most intriguing items at the expo is the box. The big question is, what is in the box? The box is sold based on a themed character, TV show, movie, or video game. Inside the box is a collection of different items based on the theme, but no one really knows what exactly is in the box. You'll have to purchase one of your own.
Pop culture is alive here, giving life to fans' favorite comic, sci-fi, and anime character. Reporting from Toronto, my name is Sheena Fortuna from Eagle News Canada, 1/25.
Thank you, Sheena. With the end of the MLS regular season just around the corner, each match plays a crucial role for both the Vancouver Whitecaps and the Seattle Sounders. EBC's Thomas I. Likeness with the details.
The Seattle Sounders FC defeated rivals Vancouver Whitecaps FC 2-1 to claim the 2018 Cascadia Cup. Raul Ruiz-Diaz led the Sounders in scoring, knocking in both goals in the first half. Kai Kamara had a stellar performance for the Whitecaps, scoring the lone goal in the match. BC Stadium was filled with a sellout crowd of 27,863, the highest single-match attendance in MLS history. The arena was loud and ecstatic right from the kickoff, where the energy from the fans created a playoff-like atmosphere, which was shown by the intensity from both football clubs. The Whitecaps would feed off that energy right away, getting early scoring chances early on in the match. But it was the Sounders who would strike first. Ruiz-Diaz would get the first of two in the match from a tap-in from inside the box in the 21st minute. He would get another scoring opportunity for the Sounders, but would be denied by Whitecaps goalkeeper Stefan Marinovic. A catastrophic mistake from the Whitecaps defense would lead to a turnover in their own end, where Seattle would take full command. Ruiz-Diaz would get his second of the match, which seemed to be lights out already for the Whitecaps. But just as the first half came to an end, Kamara would sink in a header from a corner kick for the Whitecaps, cutting the Sounders' lead to just one heading into the second half. An intense second half for both clubs, where the Whitecaps would continue to test Seattle's defense. The Whitecaps had plenty of scoring opportunities from Kamara, who hit the post, while Nicholas Mezquita, Christian Teixeira, and Alfonso Davies also had a chance to tie up the match. Seattle would eventually prevail, earning the victory through solid goalkeeping from Stephen Fry. Not only did this win for the Sounders secure the Cascadia Cup for their football club, the victory also put Seattle 3 more points ahead of the Whitecaps, where both clubs continue to fight for the 6th and final playoff spot in the Western Conference. The Whitecaps felt they let this match slip away. However, they explained their optimism in their hopes of making the postseason.
We didn't get the job today done based upon points. Performance-wise, they're excellent. I won't fault the performance. What you can fault me on is not getting any points today, and that's where I'll give Seattle credit, because they know find a way to win. That's what I keep getting told, and credit to them, they've done that.
These are one of those times where you feel almost sick to your stomach from the result, because you put so much into it, and we created so many chances. And it comes down to both boxes, and I know we've said that a couple of times this year, but we can't come out of this game and say we deserved or we're expected to win when we aren't clinical in the final third, not clinical enough in the final third with the amount of chances we had, and we make a few mistakes at the back that cost us 2 goals. Seattle's a quality team, and if you really want to come out of the game and say you deserve to win, you gotta make sure and take care of business in both boxes. We can't look at this game and say, okay, we give up. We got 6 games left, and we're right in contention. So we move past this game, and we thank the rest of the teams for taking care of the table for us this weekend. But if we want the table to take care of us for the rest of the season, that's not going to be possible. We need to take care of business, especially at home. And I called this game a championship game. I can't even put into words the magnitude of the next game here against one of the best teams in the league.
We just have six more games that hopefully we can try to do everything possible to get in the playoffs. We fight until the end. We never give up, and we want to get in the playoff because they has give us all the tools during the week to try to get in the games to have all the information possible to play against Seattle or any other teams. And since we are with them, they are giving us great things. So hopefully we can get in the playoffs for them.
With the end of the MLS regular season just around the corner, each and every match will play a crucial role for both Seattle and Vancouver. The Whitecaps have a difficult road ahead for the run at the postseason, needing to secure wins against Sporting KC, LAFC, and rival Portland Timbers, currently sitting 2-3-4 in the Western Conference, respectively. They will also have to rely on bottom-seeded clubs in order to make the playoffs. Thomas I. Likeness, Eagle News. I'm 1 with 25.
Thanks, Thomas. That is this week's Eagle News Canada. Join us next week for stories that matter to you. Visit our website at Eaglenews.PH and EagleNewsLive.com. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter at twitter.com/EagleNewsPH. Thank you for watching. I am Lou Aquino. I'm 1 with 25.